Hello again, everybody. Doc Bass, aka Jim Hickey, coming back at you with another bass fishing tip. This time, this video is going to be the first in a series of videos that'll have to do with different types of maps that we can use to help us basically prepare initially for the days we spend out in the water, to better identify those places we want to concentrate our angling time to optimize our chances of catching more and bigger bass when we have those precious days out in the water, which for many of us aren't nearly as many as we'd like to be. And today I'm going to introduce you into three different online mapping systems that you can access. In the future, I'll talk about other types of maps or map data sources that you can obtain maps from, and then using specific types of maps like fishing maps in particular, or topographic maps to assist you in actually preparing to get out in the water and do a much better job catching those big bass that are all waiting for us out there. Okay, what are you looking at here? Well, you're looking at a depiction of something that's associated with one of the views you can access via Google Maps. Okay, in their infinite generosity, if you will, one of the services that Google has provided to us over the last several years are a couple of different mapping platforms that we can access online. One is Google Maps, which you can get just through a web browser over the web, and then they have another program called Google Earth, which can also be used to access mapping type of data, specifically satellite type of information, even projecting things into 3D, but that's for another time, another place. This is your normal Google Maps, and when it first started, the main emphasis would have been on your regular old street map, which is one of the views you can get here. Okay, we get the main street down here, some other streets that are coming into this area that are feeding in through here. We see the creek channels that are coming through. We see some small ponds, but you'll notice that the large water body isn't here. Well, the data set they used to actually generate the street map when that was first generated probably dates back into this 1980s, 1970s, somewhere in that time frame. That actually predates that lake. That is Mazingo Lake, just east of Maryville. It's a reservoir that was built, actually put into commission in the early 1990s. Okay, but if we go over to the second way in which we can visualize maps, which they refer to as the satellite view, in this case it's actually an aerial photograph, I believe. Yes, it is. But here you're actually seeing the map. Well, this satellite view, or this aerial photograph, was actually obtained within the last year or so. So that's showing the map as it exists. As a matter of fact, all these little white swirls out there are boats of some sort just zooming around the lake. So anyways, so you're already getting to see some of the differences, what things might have looked like or where things have changed over time in these two different views. Google gives you one other view that's also important, and that's something they refer to as the terrain view, which is what they've done is taken some digitized topographic data and then made a perspective map so that you can get a sense of where the high points are. Like you get this little ridge over here that comes down, and you get this low point coming into this Mazingo Creek little valley, and then coming back up on a ridge again. Oh, another case where the lake isn't here right now. There's some of the smaller ponds showing, like you saw in the first map, but Mazingo Lake isn't showing here. Again, this data set was something that predates the existence of the lake, so you're not seeing that as you would today. Okay, so that's the first place you can go out and kind of get some preliminary idea of what's the conditions are around your map, and sometimes you can even get a sense of how things might have changed over time. The second series, or second source, is a mapping program that's produced using the Google data set as their base map. So they're just importing that data, and then they add different functions to this where you can go in and manipulate the data, add in, you can actually put in points on the map if you know something interesting is out there as a GPS waypoint, and upload it into your GPS unit that you might take out in the water, or vice versa. If you had your GPS out in the water and you had waypoints you had collected, you can transfer them into the map and see where they exist in your mapping system. But one of the other cool things that angling technology does for large lakes in particular is they generate depth contours of those lakes, okay? Like this one here. Now it just so happens Lake Mazingo Lake didn't have this, or they didn't have this for this lake when I first found out about this program. And the first video I actually posted on the site actually gives a quick overview of the Angling Technologies Mapper program. You might want to check that out as well. But since they didn't have this, I sent the owners an email, and they actually went into Blah. It just took them a few weeks to get the data together, but they actually then created the contours and integrated it into their system. So now that you have the depth contours for Mazingo Lake, and you can thank me because I'm actually the person that requested it. And as you know, as you start to zoom in and we start to move around the lake, we can, get a much clearer depiction of what's going on with respect to the depth contours. And again, get this nice little point structure coming out here. That might be something you want to check out when you're out in the water. So really cool information that's available. The last thing you want to consider, at least getting a look at, are topographic maps. And here again is a section of the topographic map for the Lake Mazingo area. Lake Mazingo would actually exist out in this region. It's not there. This is a mapping system that's generated by the United States Geological Survey. Let's see if I can get this to go the right way. I didn't. Oh well. There we go. Okay. So anyways, this company has actually gone in and brought in the maps, the digitized maps from the United States Geological Survey, the topographic maps. This one happens to be a Maryville East. This map was prepared back, I believe the date on it's in the early 1980s, which means the map data was collected before that time even. That predates the lake again, so we're not seeing the actual lake that exists out there today. What's really cool here, though, is if you know how to read a topographic map and you think about what's going on in this area specifically. Here we have a paved road that's coming down. The water level's up here today. That's coming down across the bottom of the creek valley that used to exist and back up the other side and up onto the ridge. Well, this is all inundated today. Yeah, so that's the location of an inundated old roadbed that's out there. We know there also had to be a bridge going over that creek. These black things, again, the water level's right in here today, I believe. Those black things are structures that used to exist. Those foundations could still be out there. Again, there's more over here. The green stuff is trees. The trees are still standing at the back of these coves, but in the main part of most of the lake, they actually took those trees down just because they didn't want those hazards out there for when people were boating in the future. Another thing you can pick up in here maybe is there's a bunch of small lakes down here that were also inundated when the lake waters came up into this region. So, pretty cool data that's out there. This one source is from a site called MyTopo.com, which is associated with MapTech again, I believe. That's another commercial mapping program. They let you see the maps online. If you had a clipping program, you could clip this section of this map out. But if you want to actually get a copy of it, then they charge you to do that. That's how they make their money. But there are other sources you can go to get that information as well. As a matter of fact, there's a free source at the state of Missouri where you can go get this map, download the whole thing, the whole quadrangle, and actually work with it in other programs. And that's one of the things I'll be showing you in the future. So again, it's amazing what technology offers you today and what you can go out there and access online. Things such as Google Maps, the Angling Technologies Mapper program, or even this free MyTopo map program. And it's where it all starts. Go out, spend a little time doing your research, getting ready before you hit the water, and really do a better job catching more and better fish once you get there. Again, this is the first in the series. We'll be looking at the details of these things in the not too distant future. Remember, tight lines and full live wells. Have a great day.